Hello, welcome to Ceazor Snack Sandwich. Today I have a video for you on Carbon, DeFi, and Graphene. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to mention that these Carbon DeFi is on Mainnet ETH, and Graphene is on all of these chains. Now, Graphene is a licensed fork of Carbon's code. However, it has deployed on all of these chains. Currently, at the time of recording this video, it's only really supported on Base, Graphene. And if you go to Ethereum here, then you're basically going to see the same stuff you're going to see. Like if I go here and I look token pair, click here and just go DAI USD, DAI ETH, and I go to Carbon, and I go to token pair, DAI ETH, you can see strategy number one, 8.2%, 230, and as you see, it's exactly the same. Okay, so the point is that Graphene is an alternative front end for Ethereum Carbon. The same contracts, same everything underneath the hood. It's just an alternative front end. However, Carbon only is mainnet, and Graphene has support for all of these networks. Now, the Graphene arbitrage bot and so forth is only on Base. These other chains are the contracts are deployed there. However, your positions won't get automatically arbed yet, and there's no DEX aggregator support either. So the only way your positions will get executed on these chains is if people actually come to the trade interface and actually execute those trades. Okay, so let's go over to Base. I'm going to talk a little bit about the options that you have on Graphene and Carbon, some of the things you can do with this that kind of make it quite special for a user. Okay, so if we go to create strategy and I choose any kind of token, so let's just choose Arrow because it's pretty deep and stuff, and let's do USDBC. Now, why am I choosing USDBC? Is because if we go to DEX Screener, which I've pulled up here, we can see that this pool is pretty deep. There's 4.4 million, and I want to trade through this pool. So basically, I don't have to use USDBC. I could use any other token, and it would technically work. However, the arbitrage bot would have more steps to trade, so then it would be less likely to be able to execute your orders. Okay, so if we go to here. Let's go back to Graphene, and let's say there are these four options. So the first option is quite easy. It's a limit order. So you would come to here and you'd say, oh, I want to buy Arrow at this price with this much USDBC, or I want to sell Arrow at this price with this much USDC. So I'm going to go to DEX Screener. I'm always going to make sure that I'm on the token instead of USD because I want to make sure that this number is exactly what I want. Okay, so 0.45, and if I click this and I zoom in here, right, 0.458, it is quite like it is USDBC is pegged quite nicely to USD dollar, but there's a chance that if this was WETH, it would obviously be a very different number here, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so I always make sure I'm on the asset of the other side, especially if this is ETH, and then I can get exact prices of what things are. Okay, so here in this case, let's say I wanted to sell here. I wanted to sell all my Arrow here. I would just take this number, so 0.085, and I would go here and I would say, oh, I want to sell at 0.085, and at how many of those Arrow tokens I want to sell there. Okay. And then again, the buy, I could choose some sort of range, some price based on this thing as well, maybe this number here and so forth. So that's pretty simple. 2 limit orders. Okay, now the next one is if I go back and I say, oh, I want to do a range order. Okay, again, this range order can be a buy or sell, and basically you're choosing 2 prices. Okay, so if I go back here, I'd say, oh, maybe I want to sell all my Arrow that I deposit here between this price and this price. So it's a way to like kind of guess where things are going to go. If your price goes all the way through here, then you will have sold all your tokens. And if the price comes back, then nothing's going to happen for you. Okay, the price will just continue to trade, and your assets will all be sold into a bucket and sitting in a USDBC bucket. So you can set these and forget them, and then come back much later and collect those assets in those USDBCs that you sold. Now, the opposite is true here. If the price comes down through this range, you will buy, and then as it comes back up, nothing happens for you, and now you're holding Arrow tokens for what have you. Okay, so that's a range order. Now, reoccurring is where you have two range orders. Okay, and if we go to the chart here, we can see I've basically plotted these out on here for you. So it's basically a great way to set like a floor price. Like if you're a project, you can set a floor price here, and then you can create some selling range to fill up the floor. Or if you're a user, you can tighten and widen these as you please. You could bring this like way down here and be like every time it sells through here, or even something even much tighter, like something like this, right? And basically, while it's in here, nothing's happening for you. But as the price comes here, you're buy, and it goes up, and sell, and then buy. So, and then you can always move these prices as well anytime you want. So that's a reoccurring order, and so you can come to your strategy. This is a reoccurring order that I've made. Now, as you can see, there's only 8 cents in here, and there's no USDC. So this is very unlikely to get executed, even if the price goes all the way through here, because the arbitrage bot will look at this and be like, I can't make any money off that. So he's just going to ignore it, right? So you got to keep that in mind. So if you make your ranges super wide and you put a tiny amount of tokens in it, then it's not going to get arbed so frequently, okay? But what I wanted to show you is there are these features. I can come in here, edit, and any of these price lines. So basically, I can change any of these lines. If I wanted to, it's starting to pump, and I want to bring these up and chase the pump, right? I could do that. I can easily change those prices inside the UX like that, confirm the changes, and then those changes are done. The next opportunity we have Arrow, and let's go back USDBC, and we have this overlapping strategy. Overlapping strategy is very similar to Uniswap version 3, concentrated liquidity. Okay, so I do have to, let's go through this a little by little. Okay, so if I pull these across, right, I can set the price. I can do it manually here, and it's basically, if we look at the chart, it's basically this price and this price, and then there are these lines here, and I'll kind of show you what they do in the front end. So this, you're setting if I go through the top of here, I want to be completely out of Arrow, and if I go through the bottom of here, I want to be all in Arrow. I want to buy all Arrow, and as it's trading inside here, you're going to be collecting what you could maybe call trading fees or spread fees or whatever. Here they call it a spread, and that's probably a better name than trading fees, because it's buy high, sell low. So if I go here and I say, I want to set my spread to 1%, I'm going to need to widen this to more than 1%. So widen these out, and can I put 1 yet? 1, still no, right? So let's put something higher, like 8 and 2, and then I should be able to do 1%. Yeah, so I can set this spread to anything, and the spread is basically what's in the middle there. So I'm going to go back and open this again so you can kind of see the spread right here. Let's bring these in so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so as you can see, like if I were to deposit into this range of between here and here, then I would deposit both assets. I would require both assets. So if I put 5 or 2, it calculates how much I need in this case. So as you can see, I would have a whole bunch of USDC here to buy the dips, and a whole bunch of Arrow here to sell the pumps, right? And then you can see there's a small gap in between here. So every time I would be the price would go down to inside here, then it will start to buy arrow and put it here with a spread of this much. Okay, so it would put it on the left-hand side of this red bar. So it'd start filling and keep that distance of on both sides of the price to be 0.01. Okay, so that spread. So this is kind of like a concentrated liquidity position, right? So you're kind of you're buying low, selling high, and you're just kind of trying to collect that that spread every time it gets executed. Now again, same thing applies here. If you put like $2, $4, then this is very unlikely to get executed. You need to put something of significant, like maybe a couple $100 or $1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000. Like the more you put, the tighter the range, the more arbs it will get. Because like if there's not a lot of tokens in here, then it's not going to get arbed until maybe the price is over here. Okay, so now there is the possibility that this price here where it says 0.044726 USDBC is a price from CoinGecko. But if I look here, it's is this USDBC? The current price is 0.044, but on CoinGecko it's 0.45. So as you can see, this CoinGecko price is not something that actually determines whether or not you're going to get arbed. It's kind of a guideline number that you look at to kind of figure out, oh, am I roughly in the right place? However, you should always confirm the price here on something like DEX Screener or on the actual exchange or wherever that liquidity pool is present or is populated. You can make sure that price there so that your range predicts this. But if you were to try to create it, and you would say, oh, say like I want to start selling for, let's put 4 and 4.3, it's like oh, you're out of the money, like this isn't going to work. So but you would still be able to deposit, right? But like my point is that like this thing's gonna kind of give you some warnings and say, because the CoinGecko price is like an aggregated price of how much it's worth, and it's just there for a guideline. It'll still allow you to make the position in most cases, but with these overlapping strategies, you have to kind of be a little bit more. It won't let you make the overlapping strategies, but all of the other strategies, like the reoccurring orders, range orders, it'll warn you, but it'll still allow you to place those. So just be a little more conservative. Don't make it so tight around and so forth. Now, if you're a project, there are some cool things you can do with this. You can come to create strategy. Let's say I was owner of, I don't know, Axel token, right? And I wanted to do some maybe USDC. And one of the things I can do is I can take this reoccurring order and I can kind of be like, oh, I want to sell. I want to raise some money. So I've got a whole bunch of Axel tokens. So I want to buy them. I want to sell them between, let's say the current price is $1 for a token, $1 to $10, and I will buy Axelar at 0.99 and 0.98. So again, you can fund this with only Axelar tokens, and as the price goes up to like $5, it's funding this floor price, and then all that USDC is going here, waiting for the price to come back down, and then there's a floor, the defensive floor price here for a project to defend their price if that's something that project wants to do. You can also instead do a single range order to raise some money. You can do a reoccurring limit order and say, oh, $1 and $1. And now this is kind of like a pre-sale that people can enter and exit. You could do a single range or limit order, and you can say, oh, I want to sell Axelar tokens for 1 USDC, and then people can buy and they cannot sell back to this contract. So you can do this as kind of like a pre-sale. quite simply, permissionlessly, and easy. I hope this has been interesting and useful. I kind of ranted on a long time. There is one more thing I should show you. That is, Velocimeter has these on base. They have these concentrated liquidity positions. You go to liquidity, click concentrated liquidity, and they have these. What they are like is they're basically predefined fungible concentrated liquidity. So the team has selected a price of 2.2K to 2.9K. And if you wanted to deposit some assets, like say, 1 ETH, it would say, you need to bring this much USDC, because it's very, very low right now. It doesn't need much USDC. But as the price goes here, these numbers would change. Then you could approve and then, deposit and then stake into the gauge to earn some OBVM, as well as you will be earning this LP spread. So there's this spread here. You consider this kind of like trading fees. So every time the price moves around here and this thing gets arbed, you are making 0.6 like auto compounding. So because your assets are always in the liquidity pool, they're not set aside. They stay inside that liquidity pool, getting traded, increasing your like auto compounding your trading fees or your spread, whatever you want to call that. And then also, you will earn this 2% OBVM to 10% depending on exercisability. Now, this number will, of course, change based on voting, and the voting will happen in 1 or 6 days. So you can probably consider this number will probably go up. But this is an option. Now, you cannot adjust these prices. You cannot change these prices. If the price goes outside of the range, then you won't be able to actually deposit into these into this vault. And that's it. Okay, so I hope this has been interesting. I know it's been a kind of a long one. I don't usually do front ends, but I kind of owe it to these teams to kind of explain what's going on here a little bit. Now, there is some other ideas. There are, of course, some cool things. You can come here. You can kind of look at other people's strategies. What are other people doing? You can duplicate those strategies, and then they won't follow. Like if someone comes and changes the prices of their strategy, your duplicate strategy will not copy theirs. It will just kind of it's like a snapshot of the current status of that, and then you would have to manage your prices as you see fit. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I hope this has been interesting and useful. Feel free to come and check it out. Go to the Velocimeter or the Bancor socials and ask questions if you have more questions, and goodbye.